got to be careful about assumptions, certainly about assumptions about going undefeated or really anything in college football. Dan Mullen making some assumptions this week. Let me read them to you. And you're going to have to paraphrase the quote just a little bit. When I look at our schedule each year, Dan Mullen said, I assume we're going to go, and this is that we are going to go undefeated. If you look at it the other way and say, hey, I don't see us winning this game, I guess I'd tell the coaches, hey, why don't you go home? Why aren't you, we're not going to win this one anyway. So this is the time of year to assume you go undefeated. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter Georgia fan. I think this is the time of year you assume you go undefeated. I don't know about that one. And I think that Dan Mullen, in the pantheon of stupid things coaches are saying right now, this is not exactly at the top of the list. But if Kirby Smart were saying this, I think he'd say it in a different way. But at the same time, I also think that Georgia fans would be like, yeah, let's assume we're going undefeated. Well, I mean, they just wouldn't say that. And I think Georgia fans would cheer that more. With that said, Mark Richt never said this that I can remember. Kirby Smart certainly has never said this. And then again, the Gators aren't playing at Alabama, right? I mean, but the Gators do have to deal with LSU and Georgia specifically. This is the problem with off-season stuff. When you got someone like Dan Mullen who has done a good job at Florida, they've won the Peach Bowl, they've won the Orange Bowl, they've come about as close to going undefeated as me playing football in the SEC, which is to say not very close. So that you would say that and allow the media, the fans, opposition fans to get all riled up about it is kind of an unforced error. This isn't the first unforced error from Dan Mullen. It's not as stupid as the one from last year as it relates to specifically Georgia, but it is kind of a naive thing to say. I don't think anybody in college football should assume they're going undefeated. And I understand that he's saying in like I don't want to say perfect world, but literally it would be a perfect world. Because he goes on during the interview to talk about the fact that the Gators, when they won 2 national championships when he was the offensive coordinator, they were not undefeated seasons. I should point out, too, that this was the Pat McAfee show. So, it does make national news when a top 10 program talks about going undefeated. I mean, Florida's not dealing with the Big 12 schedule or the ACC schedule or Pac-12. This is the cutthroat SEC, and, you've not even won the division in your coaching history, and you're talking about going undefeated. I look at Georgia's schedule, and let's just even take Alabama off of it. Let's just say Georgia, is there a game other than that Bama game that Georgia should lose? Well, maybe not, but you wouldn't talk about how they're going to go undefeated in that stretch because it's so hard to do. I mean, you look at the South Carolina game in 2019, in 2018, road game at LSU, 2016 getting drilled by Ole Miss on the road as an undefeated team. The loss getting beaten badly by Auburn on the road. The notion of being undefeated in SEC play, it's so rare. In fact, these are the teams in the last 40 years who have gone undefeated in the SEC. 1980 Georgia, 1992 Alabama, 1998 Tennessee, 2009 Alabama, 2010 Auburn, 2019 LSU. That's it. That's not a real long list of teams in the last 40 years that have gone undefeated in their season. Again, 80 Georgia, 92 Bama, 98 Tennessee, 2009 Bama, 10 Auburn, and last year's LSU team. You don't go undefeated in this league. It's an unforced error from Dan. This guy is a good coach. He's done a good job at Florida. Okay, he's not won the division yet. Eventually he will. But this is the sort of stuff that you think, why would you say that? Because it's going to get misconstrued. People aren't going to understand it. Let's just say it wasn't misconstrued. It was a stupid thing to say. It was not smart. And now people like me get a chance to talk about it. Not the brightest thing on earth, particularly in the middle of the summer like this. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter Georgia fan. Let's get you ready for the 2020 season. That's the link to click right up there. That box, can you see it? It's really hard for me to, let me get it right. Click that box. We'll see you over on that video.